We always accommodate. So welcome to meetup number 3, when Harry met Lloyd. That's a sequel to Dumb and Dumber, yeah? So we're choosing these serious names before that, like Force Awakens and The Quickening, so this time, don't take ourselves too seriously. So welcome, we have 2 talks tonight. A really quick one, lightning talk. I'll be talking about link handling in iOS, universal links, and well, you'll see. And then we'll have a short break, 20 minutes, half an hour, do some mingling, get to know each other, have some refreshments. And then we'll be talking about Fastlane. Yep. Alrighty. So as I said, there's drinks there. There's an optional donation if you want, of €2. Optional. So yeah, let's do it. So link handling in iOS. So we'll be looking at 2 things today: URL schemes and universal links. Everybody been using those in your apps? Yes, no? You'll have an opportunity to talk about it later, don't worry. So let's begin with the first one. URL schemes, you've all used them, even implicitly. Maybe you've added a Facebook login to your app. They use URL schemes. Very easy to use, very easy to implement, and they've been available in iOS forever, like since iOS 1 or something, iOS 2, the first version they had in App Store. So what are these? You're using a custom URL scheme. And the first step in order to implement these things is to add it to your app. So these 2 keys here, CF bundle URL name and CF bundle URL schemes. The first one, it's a unique identifier. You can use, for example, the name of your app, like a reverse URI with the name of your app. And the second key is a plist array, where you add all the URL schemes that you wish to support. So once you've done that, it's all working, it's all 100%. You enter a link in, you run your app for the first time, you enter a link in Safari. This way your app wakes up in application, open URL with options. That's a URL, your scheme, your host, and everything after the first backslash is the path. And presumably it would have a query there. So let's walk step by step through this code. If there's a host, if the host name is Meetup, let's say that's what the URL scheme support is. If there is an event ID, which is the last path component, then you return true. This way you do your deep linking. In my case, I just print out the event ID. But this is like, at this point in your own app, maybe you want to go to, you want to push a view controller, show a model view controller, very easy. First main functionality. Second way you can do with URL schemes, you can check if it's available. So that's pretty cool. So here's again some Swift code. Initialize a URL with the Meetup custom URL scheme. And if you can open that URL, then that's a URL scheme, and you can open that. Otherwise, open a regular HTTP web URL. Okay, so they did some stuff in iOS 9 over at Apple. Your app has to register every single URL scheme that it queries. So if you want to open up the Meetup app, or the Instagram app, or Tweetbot, or whatever, you have to add it in your plist as an array for this one. If you don't do that, it'll just open Safari, it'll take you out of the app. Some extra stuff. So if you visit this website here, handleopenurl.com, you can get a list of all of them. People submit this stuff all the time. It's like literally thousands, tens of thousands of these. And for some of them it's quite comprehensive, so it has details about how to use them, the format of the components, the queries, etc. And something that's worthwhile noting here is that so basically link handling in iOS, it's the main mechanism of having inter-app communication. That's how you communicate with other applications. That's the only way provided by iOS, right? So in your Today extension, for example, because it runs as a separate process of the main app, and you want to send data to that application, you'll probably be using Euroscheme 100% of the time. So that's it for custom URL schemes. So since iOS 9, I copy-pasted this from the doc, so I'll go through it step by step. So since iOS 9, you have universal links. And what's a universal link? It's basically having a regular old web link that would redirect to your app. So they're unique, they're secure. They've built in a mechanism that universal links will only open up in your own app, in your app. For example, something similar exists on the Android OS, but any application can register any URL to open up an app. So let's say you have an application that would like to open up Wikipedia, and you tap on it, it will ask you, this app wants to open up this URL. Do you want to use this app or Wikipedia? Whereas in iOS, that's never an option. A universal link will always open up your app. They work great. They're very flexible. Even if your app isn't installed, they will still work. And it's as simple and private. So, let's take their word for it. So adding support for these things, very easy. There's server-side stuff and there's client-side stuff, yeah? So let's have a look at the server side. So on the server side, you have to add a JSON file that has this name, apple-app-site-associations, to the root of your server. Just copy-paste this, app ID, the path you support, this number here, you can find it in your provisioning portal. If you go to your application in the provisioning portal, it's right there. And there you go. Client side, go to your settings, application capabilities, turn associated domains on, and add app links, colon, and the URL you want. And you set your app works for universal links. Just give it a few minutes for the Apple service to hit up your root directory so they can download the association file. So in the client side, yeah. So we have these things set up. You need an entry point in your application. It uses the NS user activity object. Very similar to what it does on the custom URL schemes that we looked at before. So if the activity type of the US activity is NS user activity type web, if there's a web page URL, if there's a host, if there's an event ID, do your deep linking here. Push your meetup event view controller or something. Else, open URL. So some stuff I've done in my own application here. So at the moment I've put in universal links for the site I work for, but there's literally dozens of pages. So what I've done is I've whitelisted the links I actually support. So when I enter here, if somebody, for example, tapped one of the product pages, I'll push that view controller. If somebody tapped for some reason the terms of use web page, I have no handling in the app, that'll fail, and I'll just take them back to Safari. Some extra stuff that's worth mentioning here. Works great in the Safari view controller. Doesn't work in UI web view. If you're using iOS 9, you probably moved away from that already. Debugging the Apple site associations file is hard, or impossible if you want. Some popular apps don't support them, so I was using Chrome, the latest version, a couple of weeks back, so they support them now. Gmail doesn't, it opens up everything in Chrome. And actions are remembered, so if I do that, if I go to the site, it will forever redirect me to the site. It will never take me to the app. Unless I long press on the link if it's in Safari or in the Mail app or the SMS app. An activity sheet pops up and it asks me, do you want to open up Safari or open it up in the app? But most users don't know that. Educate them somehow. So that's pretty much it. Any questions? Anybody using these in their apps? Yeah? No? Any plans to use it? Have you heard of these things at all? Universal links? Yeah? I found that when I started using them, I had a lot of traffic come towards the apps that I've been building. So I think it's definitely worthwhile if you want to check it out. Any questions? Any clarifications? Well, in that case, thank you very much. So.